Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Full Circle. I'm your host, as always, Harmon Jr. You can find me at Harmon Jr. on all your favorite social media.
And I am Jerry Fradette. You can find me at ToonVelo. And we are joined by a very special guest this week, Pete. Pete, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Peter. I'm I'm on the internet as well. I go by Voltage Online. I have a YouTube channel where I do competitive Pokemon. I've been streaming Chrono Cross. I need to be doing more of that. And I'm also just sort of a student doing engineering work and research. So thanks for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you here. So our topics this week, we'll be doing... I had to take advantage of having a guest here, and I'm subjecting both of these people to my own quiz.
It's sure to be exciting.
And as you heard, Pete is also a Poke expert. And a new Pokemon trailer just dropped featuring Galarian forms. We're keeping that trend going. So we're going to be talking about a lot of Pokemon, per usual.
I'm glad you mentioned keeping that train going, because our topic off the top of the hour is Infinity Train, Cartoon Network's new, not mini-series, not main series.
So
I think they intended it to be a mini-series, but then, they also teased that there'd be more. So, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it.
Right, it's the fun of getting to produce what you want without the pressure of having to continuously produce it on a schedule.
Yeah.
They've been advertising for a long time. I remember this first showcase like a year ago when they had like that summer preview or something like that.
Yeah.
And they've been, really pushing it. And I really expected a lot, especially when I knew it was a miniseries. It was going to have, a beginning and end to its story right then and there. Mm-hmm. But I must say, I felt a little disappointed by the total package.
Oh, really?
Me personally. Yeah. It was... how can I say this? It was short, I get it, because, the 15-minute, episodes, but I've watched Adventure Time, I watched Steven Universe, which has the allotted 11 to 12 minutes, and I felt like they had breadth of stories that felt like could have been an hour long with so much content, and this was like, nope, it felt like 11 minutes. It felt like every episode started halfway through and ended halfway through, and a full-length episode, per me.
Yeah. I'll largely agree to that. Like, I get what they were trying to say was, trying to make it seem continuous. Tulip would come out of the previous card and in going to the next card. That's kind of the format here. But kind of a lot of the stories for me just kind of felt like they were picked up and dropped at random. I felt overall they had pacing issues.
Personally, so I watched the entire thing, not like on an episodic basis. I watched it like all the way through in one sitting, and I feel like it holds up probably a lot better if you watch it that way. I feel like your complaints in terms of like things are sort of picked up and dropped is valid, and I did notice that as well, that there were some things that sort of like just appeared and then vanished. But as a whole, I almost feel like it's better as, like a movie almost. Just because everything gets tied together really nicely at the end.
Right. I think it probably would have done better if they just launched it as a made-for-TV movie or Cartoon Network special.
Right.
I would have liked that more like, here's a special that's going to kick off a series.
That is true.
Yeah.
I feel, but, and not to spoil the ending too much for people who haven't seen it, but I don't know how you really go from here. It sort of wraps up everything really nicely at the end.
I will say they didn't explain, like, this is going to be mild spoiler alert, so close your ears for like 3 seconds.
Watch out, tonight we are going to be discussing spoilers for the Infinity Train.
Snape kills Dumbledore. Wait, that's old. Old hat.
What? So, what do you mean?
This is a spoiler for people who want answers. They don't really answer the Infinity Train itself. There's kind of like, you get what it is from episode 1, like, people with existential crisis goes on this Infinity Train. But it's like, there's really no rhyme or reason why where it said. It's just like, this happens.
Right.
That would probably be my actually biggest complaint for the series overall, is I was drawn in because of the mystery element, and we just don't get any of that really. Because at least the first half of the whole series is Tulip really trying to figure out what makes, she's a computer programmer, she thinks logically, she needs this train to make sense, she'll figure it out. We start to see like behind the veil a little bit, and then she solves her problems and leaves without anything. I was like, oh.
Well, I feel like, in a way, the train is just supposed to be an abstract concept. The show was, in the beginning, you do raise that good point that the show did want to like explore what the heck this train was, or where did it come from? Why did Tulip find it in the middle of the woods? Is Tulip really from North Minnesota? When I heard her say like North St. Paul kids, I was like, oh man, that's like my hometown, but not quite. And I'm like, and then she was like Oshkosh, and I'm in Madison right now, so it's only about an hour north of here. So I really related on that Midwestern level. But it doesn't explain why the train is just in the middle of the woods. And I feel like, in a way, I'm okay with the fact that they didn't explain the train, and you don't need to go into the intricacies of everything. Because, in a way, it feels kind of like a metaphor, you know? If you analyze it a lot, there's a lot that we don't know about the train, but honestly, that's okay to me, just because you leave it sort of open to interpretation for a lot of different possibilities.
I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree, except we know by the end of the series it's definitely not a metaphor, because there's the lasting consequence of Tulip's actions we see when she finally arrives home.
Right.
So it's definitely a real thing with real things happening.
Yeah, that reveal at the end, when she's walking out with her dad.
Exactly,
I was just like,
you're talking
whoa.
about, and when I saw that,
I was
just
waiting for
that.
Okay, so less on the philosophical, more is just a cartoon. I did not like Tulip as the main protagonist because I felt like the supporting cast outshined her. The cat was more interesting. Atticus was wonderful. Claps for best boy Atticus. 1-1 was great. It was like everyone around her just seemed vastly more interesting, or just better from a character standpoint. And to me, it was just like every time Tulip was like, I get it, teen angst. I mean, teen angst is a thing, but it was just like, that was like her shtick. And then once her shtick was gone, I was like, I don't know. I was just like, at the end, I was feeling and worried about every character but her. Like, I wanted to see the conclusion and story of everyone but Tulip. And I just feel like that's, from a story standpoint, cartoon, like, I was like, I can't like everyone in the show except the main character. They're just, that's me.
I vaguely disagree, but we've kind of talked about why I disagree with you. But
the people want to know, Jared.
The people want to know.
People want to know, Jared.
Okay, blatantly speaking, right, as someone who comes from a very white culture, who argues with their parents, I did relate a lot to Tulip, a lot. I was like, you can't place this burden on me, Mom. Like, it spoke to me, and, but you raise a good point, Odell. If you've not been in that situation where we've fought with your parents over something, and my parents aren't even divorced, we just fight a lot, this cartoon might not relate to you. Like, her character is based around her getting is based around her emotionally working through this problem by and large. So if you haven't experienced that, she probably, it might be hard for you to like invest in her.
Okay, fine. I will admit I've never been in a position to tell a mom shut up and go shove it and be able to get away with such a thing.
Right. But that's one of the things too that I think is really important that this show sort of conveys, is that it's not afraid to show a family that's dysfunctional, especially for like a kid's show that, they advertise it as like a very similar to show to like Adventure Time or Steven Universe or something along those, but it's also really not afraid to give you those like challenging stories that like kids may have to grapple with that they don't see on TV normally. And I feel like that's one of the things that Infinity Train, I almost said Infinity War, Infinity Train does really well, exploring the fact that, sometimes reality isn't that great, and that, sometimes families do fight, and that, divorces are real, or, family memories might not be as good as, you might want them to be, but part of life is understanding that you can still make the most of a situation regardless of the familial issues. Now, obviously, again, I also come from a place where, my parents aren't divorced either, so I really don't know the struggle that happens with a lot of that kind of thing. But I feel, though, the representation, as niche as it might seem sometimes, it's definitely still a topic that needs to be represented at some point, and that kids need to learn and understand.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, in the first 5 seconds when they just come out and launch and like, we're hitting with these deep cut emotions, serious issues, like, oh, okay, we're just doing it. We're just coming right out and talking about it.
Yeah. All right, so let me wrap this up nicely. Yeah. For anyone who knows, like, my parents were never married, so granted, they've never been divorced. And granted, I understand what y'all said is 100% correct. Like I said, my main issue was it got to the point. Remember, we talked about kids are smart and they not stupid. But it was just like, here's the point. Here's the point of the show.
Yeah.
Here it is.
It's not like it's subtle by any means.
Well, I mean, even just not the besides the moral story aside, back to the mystery element. Like, it's like, oh, you'll never figure out that the conductor right there. That's the conductor. It's like, okay. Like, it didn't even let me. It didn't finish its sentence and let me like piece together the mystery of what or who the conductor might be, who the villain, who the big bad is. It just went, and that's your reason. I was like, okay.
Let me use a film term here. The show just had bad exposition. It was always tell, not show. It was always just like, hey, here's her problem. This is what happened. This was it.
One thing.
If you didn't get it, here it is again. And she's found the solution. Here's the solution. Look, her and the bad guy have the same issue.
Yeah.
And she's like actively being like, we have the same issue. We're overcoming it together. And it's like...
One thing I think the show could have just done a little bit better was maybe foreshadow the fact that the conductor has that same problem. Because we see it sort of ties it all together in episode 9. And like if we had just like even a glimpse at it, like in the part where she's with the cat and viewing tapes and the cat accidentally puts in the wrong tape first, that would have been like 10 times more interesting as a viewer to get that little bit of foreshadowing as opposed to getting the entire exposition dump the episode before the final.
Exactly.
Now, and what else would have been 10 times better are Galarian forms over Alolan forms.
Oh boy. Here we go. There we go.
Jared, the king of our segues.
Wow, it's like you got a scooter that stands up straight.
Yeah, so, we got a new Pokemon trailer for the Gen 8 release. We're on 8, right?
Yes, we are on 8.
Yeah, we are on 8.
Where they reveal probably the biggest thing, that we get Galarian forms.
And it's funny because we talked about this before in mechanics where I was like, things were like I was honestly hoping that was going to let the whole form thing go. But I'm okay with it now because it's what I've done. Like, even though some people don't agree with me, we won't get into the national Dex talk. Like, I was never I was never a fan of stacking mechanics in Pokemon because it gets to a point where it's just like, bro, we cannot have all these mechanics and they work well together. Like, you can't have Mega Evolutions, Z moves, Dynamaxing,
Gigantamaxing.
Gigantamaxing. Like, it gets to the point where it's like, bro, I don't know how I'm going to have a battle. I just don't. There's going to be so much metagame. It's going to be like 3 layers of meta.
There is so much that I could say about this whole generation. I will refrain from doing so because I'm here to talk about the Galarian forms. Yeah, I'm just glad to say that Z moves are gone. Z moves were fun while it lasted, but they just make things so much more complicated and, in my opinion, not very good and healthy for the metagame. But what is healthy for the metagame is new Pokemon. So
yeah. So. Yeah, specifically with the Galarian forms, I'm glad that we're stepping out of Kanto only.
Oh my god, you have no idea.
That opens up a breadth of possibilities. Because when I showed Weezing, I was like, I am okay with Galarian forms, but in my mind, because this is what I thought before they showed Zigzagoon. I was like,
here we go.
There's 150 Kanto Pokemon. Like,
we're just gonna do this slowly, one at a time.
Yeah, are we literally just about to have every original have a... Because that just seems stupid. But then they show Zigzagoon.
And you're like, not only did they show Zigzagoon Galarian form, but obviously Obstructagoon.
Obstagoon, baby.
Obstagoon.
Right, where I was like, which, as soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, this is what they should have done in Alola. Like, it's not just a unique spin-off. It's not just a one-off form. It's like, this is unique and it is original.
Right.
Yeah, because, not Hoenn. What was after Horn? Sinnoh already gave us the whole, these Pokemon can evolve here because special reasons. So it's like, and everyone widely accepts. So that mechanic was widely accepted, understood, made sense. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, that's the way you should go with it. Not like 90% of the world has this Pokemon, but magically it's different here for
this reason and this reason only. One of the things that I sort of have this little theory is that Obstagoon was designed before they decided to make Galarian forms. Because you look at Obstagoon, and the leap from Linoon to Obstagoon is a little big, in my opinion. That being said, I am very excited, not only because Obstagoon looks like my man Bucky Badger, but also because Obstagoon just looks like a much more fun Pokemon to use. I mean, I'm not one to use those early route Pokemon on my team, aside from Furret, which is the best one, and you can fight me on that all you like. But I might actually use Obstagoon on my team, just because, Dark type, Normal type, yes, it is weak to fighting, but it does give me some nice coverage. And competitively, if Obstagoon keeps the same sort of movesets, getting Belly Drum and Extreme Speed, and it has Guts, which is huge. It basically gives you an attack or a damage boost if you either are poisoned, paralyzed, burned, or asleep. But asleep is whatever. If it gets
so
Sucker
much faster
Punch
when asleep
or Knockoff, that thing is going to be a pain to beat. Assuming you don't have Mach Punch or something like that. So I'm really excited about competitive aspects as well.
And so one of the things I like is for Alola specifically, I get the regions, but with the exceptions of maybe Executor, all the Alolan forms didn't make sense, other than the fact we're called Moon, so I guess it's darkness and nighttime. And it was like they were just kind of forcing these types on us. But I feel, I could be wrong, but based off the show with the Weezing and even Obstagoon, because think about it, werewolves, like historic werewolf stories always take place in England.
Right.
So he looks like, so theme-wise, especially, with the Galar region, they already seen, especially Weezing with the Industrial Revolution and that thing, and it still matches his typing and goes with the vibe. It seems like these forms are actually taking more. Like, Alola was just like, here's an Ice Sand Slash. Oh, okay.
To counter that, I feel that the explanation that they did give for Ice Steel, Sandshrew, and Sandslash was pretty good. Though I kind of wish almost that they'd retcon Cantonian Sandshrew and Sandslash to be maybe Ground Steel or something. Just so that the change from Ground to Ice Steel feels a little bit more realistic. Same with Vulpix and Ninetales to Fire Fairy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would have been nice. So I'm really okay. So I'm a retcon this conversation to the past thing.
Yeah.
P, I think you're on the bring back national deck side.
I am.
Okay.
But I'm not.
And,
I'm not going to boycott the game. I'm going to play the game regardless.
Yeah.
It just frustrates me because I like having all the options available to me. And I'm one in the games. Like, when Sun and Moon came out, I made sure my team had exclusively Alolan Mons. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I was just sort of taking my time with that one. But I'm not the type to sort of be like, I need to use my Charizard again. It's like, I want to use the new Mons, but then I also want to be able to bring my old Pokemon friends that I made in previous gens into this game so that I can also experience the new game where I am. And so that's the part that frustrates me, and that's where I stand on this.
Yeah, that's a reasonable frustration. I know you're a reasonable guy because, like we always talk about on the show, they haven't made the list yet, so we don't know. But just by pure definition, there has to be someone that's going to get left out for somebody out there.
I would be fine with Landorus being left behind. As much as it's like a good Gloomon and OU, it is what it is.
So my thing is, I really feel like they're gonna really just shut everyone up and be like, the Galarian Pokédex has over 1,000 Pokemon, which meaning like whoever's getting left out is probably gonna be legendaries,
right?
And like,
which again would make no sense. Yeah. It's like, oh no, the Kanto.
You can't use Moltres Zapdos.
Yeah, it's like, well, why would they be? Why would they be in Scotland?
Yeah.
Well, one of the other things too, I think, is that Galarian forms, the Pokemon that have Galarian forms, their base forms might not be in the decks. Like Zigzagoon, like you might have a Zigzagoon, but you won't get like the Hoennian Zigzagoon. You'll just have Galarian, and you can only have that one.
Which, as not a computer engineer, I can only imagine is a hell of a hard time to program. Like, yeah, they're the exact same, but different. And the computer is like, what?
Well, I feel it's just a matter of creating like another entry for each Pokemon, right? Because you would just use like a different hex bit for. I'm not a computer engineer either, but I would assume that you just create another. What's the word I'm looking for?
Index.
Index. Yeah, you would just have another index for this different Pokemon, but who knows?
Yeah. So, but tying both together, like Pete, I'm not bringing national decks back. I mean, I think it would be cool, but my mind frame and Galarian form has shown this to me. First of all, people out there, we have not seen any final game footage. Even the newest trailer is far from final game footage. So, I'm not gonna speak on graphics and stuff until
we see them.
We see them.
Right.
But like I said, with the whole stacking thing, like with Z moves and stuff, I feel like this game ultimately at the end of the day, like they said they may return and stuff. I really think Pokemon actually needed this kind of soft reset in the sense because we have really just been stacking things together and things have gotten muddy. So I feel like going forward it's like, hey, not that we need to start from scratch, but we need a new clean base with everything we learned, and then we can properly reintegrate everything from there.
Right. We need a soft relaunch. Speaking of launching,
there it is.
Into our next topic.
He said it.
So, thank you. It's on to our fun quiz portion of the game. So, while the Apollo 11 50th anniversary was technically back in July, it was this year. So, I have designed a game around the Apollo 11 50th anniversary lunar launch. So, Pete,
Shout out to Rakiel, by the way. If you don't know what that is, it's a JoJo Part 6 reference.
Oh, I have not gotten that far.
I'll spare I was about to say details, but
okay.
Wait. I gotta pause real quick. Jared always gets on me because I don't watch JoJo, and he's like,
"Watch it now."
Pete's gotten on to me because we haven't talked about JoJo.
And I'm also just like, he just made a JoJo reference that you didn't understand, so I'm disappointed in you. Because of course I would. It's well documented my non-watch of JoJo.
I'm sorry.
I could talk your ear off about that entire series.
We'll bring you back next time and we can all discuss what our stands will be. Okay, so the game will be, I will name games that prominently featured the moon.
Okay.
And you're going to ring in to tell me if that game was launched before or after 50% through the year. For example.
What is the 50% of the year date?
After June 30th.
Okay.
January through June is before. July through December is after. There are no games that are exactly in the middle.
Okay, I didn't want you to be like,
there's
June
no
15th.
games that were released on June 30th.
No. And so, the example, DuckTales, if I say DuckTales for the NES, you would ring in and say after. Now, to prevent you from just ringing in and guessing, if you guess wrong, your opponent gets the point.
Wow, okay.
Additionally, yeah, right? Additionally, so that there are actual stakes here, whoever wins will get a $5 Venmo from me.
Well, I could use that money.
Heavy
That'll
stakes.
pay for my lunch and dinner.
Right?
All right.
Okay, are we ready to go?
Yeah.
We're set.
Ready to go.
Spore on the PC.
So I buzzed in.
Oh, okay.
I believe that one came after.
Correct, September 4th.
Yeah. I was hyped for that game, and then I didn't actually get it because my Mac couldn't run it.
Ooh.
Well, supposedly it sucked horribly, so I guess you won.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Okay. Portal 2 for the PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Odell.
Before.
Correct.
Because I remember playing this.
April 18th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go now.
All right.
Wolfenstein, The New Order, PC, PlayStation, and whoop.
Pete got it.
Pete got it.
See, okay, I'm pretty sure that one is after.
I'm sorry, it's before. It came May 20th. Right. Okay, here we go. Mass Effect. Odell.
I feel like that was one of those, it was supposed to come out in November, but it ended up came out early next year, so I'm going to say before?
It came out November 20th.
Oh, actually, okay.
It launched on
Getting
time.
those points back, baby. Let's go.
This next one is a little tricky. It's the DLC Moon Crash for Prey. Oh.
I have zero idea.
I'll risk it.
Okay, Odell is wrong in. Before.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Slow and steady wins the race, baby.
There we go. Okay. Destiny. PlayStation and Xbox. Pete.
That one is after.
Correct.
That one was
Hey,
that
Pete
was
is
a
pulled
holiday
ahead
launch,
here.
I think.
Destiny September 9th.
No, that's what it was. Was that 2017 or 18? Because I remember that came out right around. One of my roommates, I think, was playing it. Right.
I
when it
did
came
not
out.
record the year.
Okay, that's fine.
Sorry.
Shame.
Don't worry about it.
The Kerbal Space Program.
Wait, that's a game?
It is. Pete.
I think that one's before.
Correct, June 24th.
Nice. Man, I don't like the 50-50 possibility.
It's like an
thing.
engineering game where you try to build a rocket to send things to space, and it's just a really comfy like engineering simulator in a way because there's very little. I mean, there's not much else to do besides building it, but it's really fun to do. So, would highly recommend if you've never tried it.
All right.
Yes. And they're real stakes. You can lose your... What are they called? Kerbal knots?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
All right.
Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask. Odell.
That has to be after.
Before
Really?
Odell.
Yeah.
April 27th.
Yep.
Oh.
I remember that specific.
Is it impossible for me to win now?
I think you might be thinking of the 3DS one though. That one was after, I think.
Right. Good point. A little late in the game, but all of these are original launch dates. It is a little too late for you to win, but do we want to just finish out the round anyway?
Let's do it.
Okay. Lunar Lander, the arcade game. Pete.
I think that would be, I want to say after.
It launched in August.
Yes. Cool.
Man,
Wow.
next quiz is going to have to be something that doesn't involve 50-50 probability.
Yeah, that really, it is what it is.
Sorry. Okay. And finally, Super Smash Bros. Odyssey.
Wait, Odyssey?
That isn't a game, so neither.
Wait. What's the one on the Switch?
Ultimate?
You said
What did I say?
you said Super
Odyssey?
Smash Bros.
I'm sorry.
Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Super Mario Odyssey was after.
It was, in fact, after, in October. So
Did he buzz in for that one?
I did.
he even wrote the word buzz this time.
Okay, to my credit, I'm used to like playing Quiz Bowl in their Discord, and you have to type out buzz to get them to acknowledge you. So, one, I have a lot of like trivia background, and two, that's it is what it is with how I buzz in. I wanted to type out buzz a lot, but I couldn't.
Fair enough. So send me your Venmo ID later, and
Yeah.
I will get you that sweet, sweet cash.
People, let us know in the comments how much this quiz sucked.
He's just salty
Because
and lost.
Now, to be fair, you've only ever played against yourself, so your judgment of how good you are might be a little bit off.
No, it sucks on the pure merit that it was only 50-50 probability. It was like, I don't know.
No, but if you knew, you knew.
Yeah, if you knew, you knew.
You were only penalized for guessing wrong.
Hey, get good, Dell.
Okay.
Ooh. And with that call out,
No, I'm just kidding. You know we're good. We know we're good.
Right. With that call out, Pete, sign off, and we'll go around the
Where
horn.
can people find you?
People can find me on YouTube at Voltage. So the YouTube link would be youtube.com//voltage1202. And again, you can find me doing all kinds of fun stuff, streaming, gaming. I'm working on some podcasty stuff as well. And I'm also playing in the Not Fully Evolved Premier League on Smogon, so you can catch me playing matches there too.
Ooh. And all those descriptions can be found, or all those links can be found down in the description.
Yeah.
Below.
So, as always, I'm Jared Fradette. You can find me at Toon Velo.
And I'm Odo Harmon Jr. You can find me at Odo Harmon Jr. Join us next week where we got some more exciting topics, more guests coming to you in the future. And thank you, Pete, for joining us.
Thank you for
Yes,
having
thank
me.
you.
All right, have a great week, everybody.